Then after that, meme coins. But the first one was airdrops, and it was Jito first, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was Jito first. And Jito did this huge airdrop. And that was December. What was the first one? Maybe it was just memes, was it? Jupiter came out after. It was Jito. Yeah, there wasn't much on Solana at that point. Maybe Radium was having a little bit of a resurgence. Yeah, Radium. At this point, back then, there was really not much for Solana. But you could have identified Radium here as being in its own bear market range, right? And seen, okay, where are we now? Bitcoin is cooling off, dominance-wise. Sol is stronger than ETH. So I want Sol. But if I want to spice it up a bit, maybe I go 80% Sol and I want to go 20% into a Sol beta. And that doesn't mean your whole portfolio. I'm saying the amount you're allocating towards a Solana trade is 80% into the main asset and 20% into something spicier. And then you see, what's the next best thing? Well, Radium. After this breakout, which comes a couple of weeks later in December, then you get the Radium outperformance. Sol goes first, then the Sol beta goes after. And Sol went up like 3 or 4x, I think. And Radium from this breakout went up, I mean, really to that last peak, 7 or 8x. From December until March, Radium went up 6x. Or 7x, sorry. At the same time, Sol was starting to slow down. Still good performance. But from the start of December, over here, until March, Sol went up another 3.5x. 240% versus 600%. You don't have to choose these beta assets. But if you're somebody with a smaller portfolio that wants to try and maximize the returns, you want to first identify when is Bitcoin dominance downtrending or cooling off. What's the dominant altcoin narrative? It's not ETH, it's Sol. So I can choose Sol and get a, from back in October, I can choose Sol and get a 6x. Or I can choose one of these beta coins, which if you did that back in October, which is all the way down here, there's almost a 20x on Radium. Now, of course, with Radium at that point, it was still near the bear market lows, and there was no guarantee that Radium was going to have this big run. So for an actual entry, you're probably looking at Radium on the breakout. And the way you identify what the beta assets are is you need to understand the chains. There's really two ways this will go, and I'll try and map it out here as best I can. So, 1. BTC dominance is topping / down. 2. It's going to be either ETH or Sol or alts. I'm going to call ETH and Sol the majors and then alternatives to them. 3. You then want to identify, is this a tech narrative or a wealth effect? If it's tech, buy utility coins. Beta. If it's wealth effect, buy memes. Right? That's the play. So what this means is, whenever ETH was having its merge pump, that was a tech narrative. That narrative was around a big upgrade to Ethereum's network. This was about people wanting to speculate on what are the other real projects that will benefit from Ethereum's technical upgrade. That's not a time to look for meme coins. Again, memes can always do well, but meme coins do best when there's a wealth effect. That's why Bonk and then Whiff had their best runs after. Right? And Bonk still did well, but the majority of Bonk's appreciation, and when it really got going, was in December really for like 2-3 weeks. That's the wrong one. Bonk's major price appreciation, this last 10x or close to 10x, came after Solana had already went as high as, where? Here. That was when Solana off the lows was already up, here we go, is already up 5x, right? So people on Solana, the whales, the smart money, the insiders, they were starting to see their portfolio just in Sol go 5x. And then as their portfolio kept growing in Sol terms up to 10x and up eventually to 15x, that means they're making money. And when they make money, they're going to chase down into the highest beta, riskiest assets, most volatile, which are memes. And then after the second wave of Sol, when there was nothing really going on except just wealth effect, Solana had no technical upgrades here. Then you saw WIF burst onto the scene. And WIF had its entire appreciation of price. The bottom of this move here to the top where it did its 30x all came in this last part for Sol. So what's important to understand here is that by the time WIF started even moving, Solana was already up 10x. So Sol had done a 10x, and then because there was no tech involved here, Solana did not upgrade its network. There was no major changes. It was just Solana whales have made so much money here that they're rotating into pure attention plays, pure price appreciation, pure speculation. Nobody's looking at Sol and saying, oh, let me get the tech play. They're just buying whatever's going up. And that's going to be memes. For this cycle, that's memes. And if you're seeing a utility rotation, I'll talk about it in a moment. But a good example here would be, that was when WIF. So from February until March, WIF crushed it. What didn't crush it was Jito, which is a tech play. So from February until March, Jito did this. So people would have chose Jito in February until March. And it did all right. It went up 3x. But it got crushed by memes. Why? Because the narrative, the dominant narrative of Solana at that time was, it was the meme coin casino. Everyone remembers this. Bonk had done 100x. WIF was starting to move. There was a bunch of other coins as well that I can't even remember now. But it was clearly pure speculation. It was the meme coin casino. Whereas, contrast that with the Ethereum rally in the merge of the bear market, that was a tech-driven rally. So people want to speculate on tech. So, if ETH beta is going to move, then ETH will be stronger than Bitcoin, ETH will be stronger than Sol, and there will be either a tech narrative or a wealth effect narrative. Now, this is why Ethereum meme coins in general are not doing that well. Again, Pepe is going up, but that's not an ETH beta. That's a Bitcoin beta. I don't know if people understand this yet, but it's super obvious. Because when you look at Pepe, even though it's hosted on Ethereum, Pepe's run has came from... Now, by the way, Pepe's run did coincide with ETH having a rally, which is important. But Pepe did 20x, while ETH, BTC, was in a downtrend. Because it's always in a downtrend, right? But it had a little pop in between. But during February, right, from here, from February until March, ETH BTC went up a little bit there, and then went down. So Pepe is not a correlation. It's not a beta asset for Ethereum, because it does best when ETH BTC is going down. And even again, with Pepe's next explosion, that comes as well here. It had a big move in November with that move up, which does coincide with a bit of ETH strength for these couple of days. So it's not that it doesn't have some correlation to it, but it does not require ETH BTC to have a significant trend. So, other coins will do best whenever Ethereum is rising, but that's more so going to be the tech stuff. And we don't have a broad Ethereum rally. So we can't say this with any kind of certainty. But let's assume that Bitcoin dominance, which is now broken structure on the daily, right? So for the next few weeks, barring some kind of Bitcoin reversal, it's broken structure, red bands. Ethereum has finally come off the lows and has green bands and has broken structure. So if ETH BTC goes up for the next 6 weeks till the end of the year, whatever, and Bitcoin dominance continues to kind of drift lower, what you're going to see then is ETH either tech plays or meme coins. Now, the tech plays are going to come through some kind of technological upgrade or some kind of renewed focus on Ethereum as a utility, which is most likely going to be around tokenization. It's going to be around real world assets. Because what's driving Ethereum now is predominantly a narrative of the three things I talked about. Bitcoin is the king forever. Stablecoins are the next best use case of crypto. And third, behind that, is tokenization of everything, the whole world. And you see Larry Fink talking about this. You see BlackRock putting these things on chain. And if Ethereum goes up, so it all depends how much Ethereum goes up. But the way I would expect this to go, let's just say that Ethereum goes from here to 4K to new 2024 highs, right? It makes a new high. Not an all-time high, but it makes a new high. If it does that in the next, let's call it 5 weeks or whatever, 4 weeks, then what you're probably going to see is coins that have a ETH beta, which would be, what would be the best ETH beta for real world assets? I mean, you've got Pendle, which is one. And Pendle's in a pretty steady uptrend here. And if ETH continues higher, right, ETH BTC is just, remember the Lido example? ETH BTC is just starting to move. ETH USD is doing well. Bitcoin dominance is trending lower. And all the way through this, what has Pendle been showing? Relative strength. So if ETH were to go to 4K, you could very well see Pendle, because it's a real world asset play on Ethereum, having a big move. Or you could see like Ondo, which fits into the RWA narrative. Ondo, again, I'm long Ondo at the moment for this exact reason. Right? It's got a good chart. Ethereum's starting to move. And we've seen Ondo make a new high. It's grinding up. It's consolidating. And it fits into the RWA narrative because it's about tokenization. And it's on Ethereum. Right? So Ondo's on Ethereum. Am I retarded? Let me just double check this. Ondo is on Ethereum. It's not its own chain, but I don't want to gaslight anyone. Yeah, it's on Ethereum. So, just making sure there. I'm fucking been a long week. So you can see Ondo do well. You can see Pendle do well. You could see, again, whatever else. Just, you can go to CoinGecko, go to the Ethereum ecosystem, and look through these. And make sure you turn off light mode unless you're a psychopath and go into dark mode like a G. And look at any of these coins that have the best 7-day performance. So Virtual's protocol has absolutely blown up. I know people have requested that for this. People have requested this for altcoin requests. I'll get to that sometime in the next 6 weeks, whenever I finally reach the altcoin portion. And you've got others. You've got AMP, you've got Ethereum Name Service, you've got Sandbox, you've got, well, PancakeSwap, not really. You've got some old shit metaverse stuff. You've got Prime. Phantom's not an Ethereum coin. You've got LivePeer. You've got Lido coming back from the dead. You've got Uniswap doing well with the Trump narrative as well. So you could look at Uni, which fits a couple of narratives. You've got the return of DeFi. And you've got the SEC getting wrecked. Gary Gensler getting sent out of office. And I talked about this after the election. And I've seen now, for sure, seeing some good relative strength from Uniswap. And the election trade seems to be playing out. But also we're getting to a point where we might see a continuation of a ETH narrative. So if ETH BTC continues to go up, Bitcoin dominance continues to go down, you will see stuff like Uniswap do well. Now, you don't want to ape into the stuff that's just got the highest pumps. You want to look at them based on their charts, relative strength, and what targets could you have? Like, where could you see these coins going to? So, for example, with Uniswap, let's just zoom in here on Uni. From a weekly perspective, you've got Uni, had its pump back in February, March, came all the way down into its bear market lows, and is rising back up. So, if Uni can break out, you could see probably I would say a 2 extensions a fair enough place to look for the maximum, or a 1.5. If you're getting positioned into Uniswap at the moment, you're looking at something like this. If this trend is going to continue, Uniswap is not going to break its daily market structure there. So it's not going to go below 11 if this is time. So it's going to have some chop and consolidation. And if it kicks on and it can break above the highs, it can maybe make its way up to a 1.5 or a 2. And that gives you the best relative strength outperformance chance if this is an ETH utility-based, tech-based narrative. If ETH then goes up enough, let's say ETH has a crazy move, you'll see ETH having an all-time high breakout, right? If ETH is able to have a bigger move and it's able to go to 5K, right, or 5,200 or whatever, which is not crazy because Bitcoin's hit all-time high, Solana's hit all-time high, no reason why Ethereum can't. Especially because it's so hated, especially because you've got this insane build-up of open interest on Ethereum, which just looks pretty wild. As we have all-time high open interest, and it's just absolutely mooning. So I think a lot of this, of course, this last part is heavy positioning into ETH, but a lot of this build-up of open interest will be shorts as well, because Ethereum has been heavily shorted. And I think people have been betting quite strongly on Ethereum being a bad bet for the cycle, and that you want to be long Bitcoin, short ETH, or you want to be long Solana, short ETH. And the trigger for this will be Sol ETH. You have to remember, these are high time frame positions. So we're Thursday now. If you see Sol ETH closing below this level, so if it closes below 0.064, that would be on the weekly, so Sunday night. If there's a weekly market structure break, and I will do a weekly open stream, and I will actually do a monthly open stream as well if I can. There'll be 2 streams. The monthly open is Saturday night, Sunday morning. The weekly open is Sunday night, Monday morning. So my plan is to do those every month, weekly and monthly, every week and every month. So I can do those streams as well, and we'll talk about this more at the time. So don't worry about this at the moment. Give it a few days, see how the market shakes itself out, because this can all change. But if that happens, that probably sets up a few weeks of outperformance, minimum. Because when you see breaks of structure in these dominance charts, major breaks of structure, ETH BTC or BTC dominance is the bet. Now let's go ETH BTC. So if we saw ETH BTC making its way above, this might be difficult for it to do before the end of the week, but you never know. If ETH BTC can close above these highs this week, that's a screaming signal. That's a weekly market structure break, which it hasn't had in ages. It had one over here, turned out to be a fake out. But if it does make it above it, good chance that you'll see at least a couple of weeks of outperformance. And if you see BTC dominance closing with a weekly lower low, right here. So this would be a lower low as well on BTC dominance. That's a low that led to the high. If this closes here, again, it has to be below the bands, it has to be below here, but this is certainly BTC dominance having a bearish weekly close. Let's just look at that. What happens when Bitcoin dominance has a weekly market structure break? So you're looking at, go to your line chart, right? And this is what we're showing here. So regardless of the bands are separate, but for now, if we see Bitcoin dominance closing with a lower low and there were wicks above, so you can class that as a sort of a semi-break. We've seen these a couple of times. We saw it once over here in December, and we know that in December we had a mini alt season. We saw it as well over here when we had this lower low in August. That's when you started to see Solana doing some more outperformance. But if you look back to the previous bull market where we were, when Bitcoin dominance closed lower in 2020, this was before COVID, when Bitcoin dominance had a weekly close below in January of 2020, what did alts do? Bitcoin dominance closing below in January of 2020 led to this for ETH. If we go to a weekly chart here, in January of 2020, that was here. So the close was confirmed on the 20th of January, right? 20th of January, and we have the 20th of January. So at the same time, you saw Bitcoin dominance making a new low and breaking structure. You saw Ethereum rising, and it led to a 4-week rally before the COVID crash. Don't worry about a COVID crash. Just think about rotations. Next time we saw it, it consolidated, tried to build up strength. Next time we had a BOS here. All right, we're looking there. Next time it had a break of structure was June 2020, right? June of 2020, where was Ethereum? Here. What happened over the next few weeks? DeFi summer. Ethereum blows up. Big 4-week pump. But at that time, DeFi summer was led by utility. This was a new tech wave. And that's where you saw stuff like Uniswap really starting to move. So Uni back in... Why is Uni... Oh no, Uni didn't exist back then, sorry. Uni came after. Aave, at that time, in... Where are we now? In 13th of July, 2020, here, had a weekly BOS going into July and continued higher, and if you get the bands on as well, right? It was in a weekly uptrend. It had relative outperformance, relative strength. So at the same point where we saw Ethereum coming off the lows, but below its February highs, Aave was way above its February highs, and it made higher highs and higher lows. That's relative outperformance. And here in July, if you saw Bitcoin dominance making a BOS, you saw Ethereum having a relative outperformance against Bitcoin. What happened next? Next, you saw a 5 week or so from the close of this week, 5 weeks or so where Ethereum doubled. That's good for Ethereum. That's big for Ethereum. But in the next 6 or 7 weeks, 7 weeks for both of them, Aave went 6x. So that's what you're looking at if we see some of this outperformance. Now, could it be Aave again? Well, how does Aave look versus Ethereum? Aave versus Ethereum is setting up the exact same way. Ethereum is below its 2024 highs. Aave is above its 2024 highs. Which asset is stronger here? It's Aave. If Aave closes this week with a BOS here, if Aave closes strong this week, Ethereum closes strong this week, and Bitcoin dominance closes with a new low, what do you think is going to outperform for the next 3 or 4 weeks? It's going to be Aave. It's going to be Uniswap. It's going to be the old stuff, right? It's going to be the fucking piece of shit. Wait. Oh. ETH. Over here, right? And Uni. And we're going to see Uni doing this. Uni closes with a break above its June highs. Now, Uni is not above its March highs, so Aave is better than Uni. Synthetics, these are some old school utility coins. Synthetics is way down. So if you're picking the old Dino DeFi, it's no good. Not for synthetics. Aave looks great. Compound is another one. Compound is better than synthetics, but worse than uni. So why pick compound? It can have a catch-up trade to the highs. Probably not much more. Look at what else? Aave, synthetics, compound, maker. And again, see that I know all these coins. This is because I've been here for years and I remember past cycles. So again, a lot of this stuff will just come with time if you're engaged with the